everyone, this is Jean from the Inky Owl Studio. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I thought I got a couple people interested in knowing how I did the envelope cover on my last envelope journal and how I did the slit pocket, or I don't really know what you call it, but that's what I'm calling it. And so I'm going to give you a little demonstration on how I put those together, just to maybe help you out or give you some inspiration. I went ahead and I put together another butterfly journal just like I did previously. And what we'll start with right now is we'll start out with the slit pocket. So you'll want to get your base piece, of course, and you'll want to get your tag, and you'll need to measure your tag so that you know how wide of a little reinforcer you want to put on there. And I recommend about 1.25 inches wider than what your tag is. It's about what you're going to need so you have a smooth in and out and it's not too tight. So I would get that measured out. I believe this is a 3-inch tag, and this, so I cut a piece of about 3/4 of an inch tall and about 4 1/4 wide piece. And I used craft paper to match my journal, but you can use anything that you want. Cardstock is probably the best thing that will hold up over time, but you probably could use scrapbook paper as well. Anyway, so to get that cut out, and then the next thing you'll need to do is you'll need to measure and find out what's the middle point here on your tag. Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. And you know what? I lost my ruler that I usually use, so now I have to use this one. Anyway, so this has a 0 point on it, which is really super handy because you can just eye up and say, oh, it's about the middle. But you'll find the middle and put a dot, and I would say about 1/4 of an inch from the edge in is about where you want to put your dot at. And of course, you're going to be working on the back side or the wrong side of in case you have design paper, you're going to be marking it on the back, not the part that's going to show in front. And once you've got that down there, then we just draw a line and we're just going to connect the 2 dots. It's probably kind of hard to see with this darker paper. There. So you're just going to connect the 2 dots like so. Now what I like to do, and this is totally up to you, it's not necessary, I like to punch a hole where those 2 little dots were. And I don't know, I guess it's probably more for aesthetic look. It certainly is not for functionality. You don't have to punch these holes, but I kind of like the look of it. It also helps me to know where to stop when I go to split this or cut this open. So you'll need a craft knife and of course a cutting surface. You don't want to cut on top of your mat there. You'll need a craft knife, and you're just going to make a split down that line, that middle line you drew from beginning to end. There we go. So now you have your split. Just now you're going to turn it over because you'll be working with the right side there. I like to round my corners as well. And I usually do this after I have, wrong one, after I have done my line or cut my split out. Yep, can't talk and work at the same time, can I? There you go. So I like to round the corners out. Now I stick my tag in. And just make sure that, yeah, there's plenty of room. Yay, good, good. And now you're going to put it on your page that you're going to be working with. So it's good to have that base page already cut out so you can maneuver the tag. How are you going to want it to come out? So I kind of want the top wings to come out a little bit. Want to make sure that my tag has room to fit down here, because you'll need a good, 1/4 of an inch or so for the glue. So you want to make sure that you're in position. You want to make sure a little tab here is in position. Everything fits. It all looks good. All right, so after you've positioned it, this is another reason those little holes come in handy, because now you can just, I gotta put it over just a bit. You can go in here and put your little dot in here. Now, if you don't have the little holes, you would simply have to lift up the split and then kind of go inside there. So, but you'll want to mark where this is going to be at. And now you're going to go in and you're going to make that slit. I don't know if my hole punch will reach there. Let's see if it'll reach that far. Oh yeah, it reaches pretty good. Although somehow this doesn't look even to me, so I'm going to make sure that it is even. So that's 1.5 there. Yep, this is a little, just a tad below. Sometimes it can just be tricky when you look at different designs. There we go. So we'll just put a hole there and put a hole here. Okay, now we will take the ruler and we will connect the dots again, just like that. Okay, so now we have a slit here, and we can now glue this, and then I'm going to make sure one more time that this is going to be how I want it, because I can always change the top part here if I made a mistake or whatever. But yep, just want to reconfirm it. I always like to be careful. What, measure twice and cut once, right? So that's going to work out just fine. And I'm going to take my glue and just simply glue the split over there. Just like that. And I just remembered I didn't distress the edges, but I don't know. I think it'll be okay. Let's just stick that right there and match up my holes. So I do like working with the holes because I guess they do have a function after all, right? But you don't have to, though. You can just, feel and make sure that your split is right where the other split is on the paper. Match the splits up. So there you go. There's it all done there. Now, what we'll need to do when we glue this into the page is there's two things that I just want to bring out. You can put a second one down here. You can have like a long tag here and a short tag stuck in here. If that's the case, then all you're going to do is you're going to glue from here up through here and all the way around. If you have a second tab, do not glue the top part down. So what I'm doing essentially, let me back up. Can I start over, please? I'm sorry. Let me just back up to make more sense. When I glue this down, I am going to glue this top part and only the top part of the split to my page, because I don't want to glue this down here because then your tag is not going to slip in the inside. Then I'm just going to come over here at the very edge and glue down this way. Now if I had a second split in here, I would not glue the top of that split like I did the top of this one. That's the point I wanted to make, because then your two tags would not, your top tag would not have any room to go. That was the point. See, wasn't that so much better when I reframed that? Okay. I do like to glue down this top part just because, whoops, it kind of helps it to stay down while you put inside your little tag there, so that, I don't know, split's a little bit easier to get into. So there you go. Isn't that not cute? I just love the way those little butterfly wings stick out there. So that is the way to do these little slit pockets. And like I say, you can do any number of them. You just have to make sure that your tag will not get lost. So let's say, okay, that's another point too I wanted to bring out. Let's say that you were doing this top tag here, or this top slit, and you weren't doing any other slits in here at all, but you were doing it up here, and but you had a really short, you know, you wanted something short here. Well, you didn't, you know, you don't want this to fall inside and hard to get out again. So when you go to glue the page down, you're going to glue then up to here on the back of the page to keep it from slipping all the way down. Most of the time, you're probably going to have a long tag, but I did want to kind of put that out there so that, you know, you won't get in trouble and lose your tag. There you go. Now we're going to do the envelope flip out ones. And so you get your envelopes, and the first thing that I like to make sure is that I have them orientated correctly. I know which one's going to be the left and which one's going to be the right. Now with these particular tags, or excuse me, envelopes, there really probably isn't an up and down. There sort of is with this one because it doesn't look, I don't know, just doesn't look quite right this way. But there are some designs out there that is going to have a definite up and a definite down. And then you're going to want to know which side you're going to put it on. And this is a commercially made envelope that I glued, you know, scrapbook paper on. This one came in Caroline's kit, and it's an envelope. And this is the easiest one to make that little button on the front, because you can get to it pretty easy. Now it's not impossible with an envelope like this that's already been made. These are pretty easy because there's a big open area here. But if you get a triangular envelope, sometimes that might, you know, hinder you a little bit. But not always, but it may sometimes, like this one here. I'm putting the button over here to keep it clasped down. Now I guess I wouldn't have to, I mean, I could put the button here and it would be all right because you're wrapping string around it. But anyways, long story made short, I think it's easier to work with an envelope that's already opened. But it's not impossible to work with the other ones. So once you have determined, you know, how you're going to do your envelopes, and you can do more than 2 envelopes. If you wanted to do more than just the 2, you will have to open them up and stack them in this way with their flaps kind of being together like this. This is the stacking you would do, or if you wanted to stack it this way. Usually I like to put the smaller one up on top, but you would stack them this way, and you can line them up, you know, as many as you want. You're just going to make sure that all your flaps are together like this. so that they all bend over. Okay, and I'm just, of course, I'm just doing 2 today, but like I say, you can do more than 2. And so I put them down. Now, because there's this darker border, and I like seeing the border anyways, I am putting the envelope flaps, I'm gluing them down like this, as opposed to this and this. I just like seeing the border, and it's an aesthetic type of thing, I realize, but that's what I'm doing here. You can do it this way as well, because you would do it before you glued down this page in here to cover it up, but you can do it this way. You still will see, you know, like a beginning and end to the envelope, you know, on your side and on your spine. But it can be done that way. I just like seeing this border around. I think it has a neater appearance, but that's just my personal opinion. Now I line them up to make sure that this is the way I want them to look on my front. Now to put the button someplace, I am going to need to mark a place for that. And I think on this one, I'm going to cut the cover, the complete cover, kind of find the basic middle of that. And then I'm going to put the dot here. And I'm probably about not quite an inch from the edge over here, because my button is going to fit on like that there. All right, so once I've got that determined, then I'm going to need to punch a hole. And I have to go get my long reach. So one thing I forgot. Now, if you don't have a long reach punch, you can use any kind of a tool that will poke a hole in there. You know, so you don't absolutely have to have a long reach. All right, so let's just get this in here. Oops. There. You don't have to have a long reach. You can just use some kind of a pokey tool that will poke a hole in there. I'm thinking ice pick, but I know this is called something else. But anyways, you can do it that way. And once I've done that, I have to determine how much am I going to need of whatever tie I'm using, whether it be ribbon or the string or twine or whatever it is. So I put my thumb approximately where I think the button's going to be, and I leave like a tail of about 6 inches. I wrap around twice, and then I leave about 12 inches, 10-12 inches there. So that should be sufficient for the wraparound. I like to put the little end of the tie in that hole, and then I'm just going to temporarily or kind of hold it down, because I'm going to put something else over this. But for right now, I'm just putting down a piece of tape to hold that there. And then I've made this button from a couple layers of craft, and put a top on it, bunch of little hole in it. I put in my little brad, and we're just going to stick it in there like so. And then on this side, we'll take the brad down. Now I want to put a little bit, I want a little piece of scrap paper, just a little piece, like so. I'm just going to glue it down. And this not only secures, helps secure the brad and string, but it will also help whatever I'm putting in there to slide in better. get it down there. There we go. And then on the outside here, I'm going to make a tie, and I'm going to here we go. Come around just like I would tie. Okay, so you got the loop like this. Okay, let me do that again. Okay, so I come around the circle like this, and then I come up into the circle like so, because I'm making a tie, and I am going to little by little tighten it up inside that, underneath that button, until it's in there snugly. So that, I think, secures it really well. Okay, and it won't be pulling out. All right, so that is all done there. Now I can finish closing up my envelope, and I'm doing it backwards because although this would be the flap of the envelope and you would glue it in like this normally, but because there's this pretty decoration, I'm just using the bottom part of it, so that's why it may look a little odd. And there we go. All right, so this is all ready to go. And this is all ready to go. So we will just glue, put glue on this flap, get it ready. Now you want to make sure you have some glue right along that edge, because that needs to be pretty secure. Be a lot of stress on there. And then I'm going to glue this one up as well. Get it all ready. Okay. I will put this down. It was about like this. And a little border over here. And this came over it. About like this here. So that looks about right. Yep. I think that's what we want. Yes, yes. Okay. Now I wouldn't be too worried about exactly where this ends up, because a lot of that can just be your personal, how you like it. I mean, you may want to put in the middle of this card, of this envelope, rather than the middle of the journal. It's all the same. As long as it secures it down, they're okay. Now, once you've got that, then you're going to be gluing down your page on the inside, like so. All right. So I probably don't have to glue that down. You probably get it now. Right. There you go. And put this around like this, and as you see, I have plenty of string. I'll probably end up cutting this off a little bit like this, and there is your junk journal cover. Okay, that was it. That was all I wanted to show you today, and I hope that helps you, and I hope you make these covers, because they're fun. They really are a lot of fun, and I think I'd like to make one with several envelopes that turn in and out. But that's how it's done. At least that's the way I've done it. Thank you so much for viewing. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and please consider subscribing. Um, I'm going to be listing this finished product in my Etsy store if you're interested. And otherwise, we will see you again soon. Bye.